2020. So let's create a project, which you should already have done so early on at the beginning of the semester. You should already created a Spring Boot application. So let's create one for ourselves here. So I think it's Spring init dependencies, and then the name of the application, we'll call it cs5200. Spring 2020, and then it's me, and this is going to be a server, and it's a Java server. Right, so having done that, oops, return not found. What? Am I not on? I am on. What doesn't it like? The naming? Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, dependencies equal what? All right, there we go. So it creates it. So once we create it, we can open it up with our favorite IDE. Let's see. IntelliJ. Okay, so let's open, and it's let's see, under Januzzi, and we have a cs5200, 2020, Spring, and I believe it's this one. So let's open that up, and just to test that this is actually working, let's create a simple page here. This is still parsing it. Okay, parsed it. So just to test that this is indeed working, let's create under here a directory. Call it web app. It has to be called web app. And let's create just a landing page here, and just have some dummy content here. H1. Welcome to CS5200. We can start the server right from the IDE. This is going to compile, and then start the server. Okay, looks like it's up and running. It's listening at port 8080. So let's visit that. Let's see. So localhost 8080/index, and we're there. Okay, so the server is running. Right? So let's start adding access to a database. Right? So one of the first things that we need to do is to configure this so that it uses the JDBC driver that we want to connect to. Right? And the way we do that is through updating the Pom file. The Pom file describes the dependencies of this Java project with any other libraries that you might need. So we're going to copy that dependency. Oops, copy. And we're going to paste it in our own Pom file. So let's see, dependency. Let's paste that in here. Paste that. Now your version might be different from mine, right? So it depends on what MySQL version you might have installed. You might have a newer version of MySQL. So this might be different for you. Okay, depends what version of MySQL you might have installed. Let's see if we can restart the server and see if it complains. So it's going to parse my Pom file, and it's going to. Oops, did I kill it? No, there it is. Okay. All right. So hopefully it worked. It went out and downloaded that jar file for me. So now internally we can start working to see if we can connect to this, right? So in here in the root of my directory, I'm going to create another directory where we can play around with JDBC. So let's create another package in here, and we'll call it cs5200. We'll call it JDBC. And in here we'll create here a class, and let's call it test. All right, so if we can, the way we can execute this, there's several ways. We can put a main function in here and run it from the main, or a more interesting and actually will play nice into where we're going to go next week. We're going to expose this so that I can hit it from outside from any URL, right? So that I can execute whatever's in here from any URL. So the way to do that is very easily. We can annotate this as a controller. This makes it now available at a URL. I just need to tell it what URL I need to want to make it available to. So we'll call it get mapping, and I'll map it to test. And if I hit that URL, I'm going to just return a string test, and I'm going to return hello world for now. Let's restart the server and see if this works. So if I go to test, it comes back with hello world. So we are hitting that function, right? So I mean, we could have done it to the console instead. I think this is a little more interesting. We're spitting out any results out to the to a page, right? All right. So what we're going to try and do here is connect to that database, right? In here. So let's test to see if we can connect to the database. So let's see. So the first part to connecting to a database is that we need to load the appropriate driver, right? So I believe this driver might be deprecated. This was the old driver name, but let's try it out. We'll copy that, and I'll paste it in here in my test. And we'll do a class.forName. That forName throws an exception, right? What forName does is that it parses the class path looking for this class, right? When it finds it, it instantiates it, right? And it does a static instantiation, meaning it will be global, right, and available, and it registers itself. In this particular case, it's the driver. It'll register itself, right, and be available at a static class name, right, called driver manager. Right, so it's complaining that this throws an exception. We can surround this with a try catch. Okay, so there it is. So it's surrounded. We can restart this to see if this blows up. Let's restart it. Oops. Oh yes, I'm sorry. It's missing a return type. So our return still return hello. Oop. All right, it is. Let's see. Let's start and let's try and hit it. See if we get any errors and whatnot. Right. Let's refresh this. Okay. Well, I guess we did have an exception. Class not found. So it's not finding that class. Why are you not finding it? Let's make sure that we're compiling it correctly. Let's see. Let's go into that directory, and let's make sure that at least once we do a Maven clean install. And make sure that it does download all the libraries and dependencies. All right, let's try that again. Let's run this again. And let's try and hit it again. Let's refresh. Still not finding it. Calm down, MySQL, blah, blah, blah. Why are you not finding it? Let me try running it from here. Let's stop that for a second. Let's do Java, jar. When you compile it, it creates a target directory, and all your compiled classes, right? Your entire jar file is put inside of that target. You can run it by doing a Java jar and using target, and we called it cs something something something. All right. Is it giving me any messages here? No. All right, so this one at least is telling me that it didn't explode here, right? So it's a little more forgiving here, but it is telling me that the new driver class is actually a new one. Notice that this is an old, has been deprecated. So we should be using this new class. Let's try it. Let's copy that. So let's rename that class. So instead of com MySQL, let's copy that for a second. Let's comment it out, and let's use our new class name. Class. Let's paste that in there. Let's see. Let's do a Maven clean install again. And let's run that. Okay, it's not complaining. It didn't crash. It didn't throw any exceptions, right? So we should be able to start connecting to the database. All right. So what database are we connecting to? Let's see.